So in this video, I will show you how to identify rich companies. Then I will show you how to perfectly identify decision makers in these companies. And at the end, I will show you how to export these leads into a clean leads file with, of course, the verified emails of these leads. So now let's go on my computer. Alright, so we are currently on the Sales Navigator homepage. It feels almost like home for me, but more seriously, if you want to target rich companies, the first thing you have to do is to click here on Account Filters. So here on this page, account, we will focus on companies. So not leads like this page, but here we focus on accounts. And an account is basically a company. So here on the left part of my screen, I have all the filters to filter the companies properly. And on the right part of my screen, so here, I will have companies that match my criteria. So for example, I can say that I want companies with a company headcount between 11 to 50 people. And as you can see on the right part of my screen, I have all these companies. On the top right here, I have the number of companies that match my criteria. We have more than 2 million companies with a company headcount between 11 to 50 people. So of course I can add some more filters. So for example, let's say that we want company based, let's say in the US. I have all the company with a company headcount between 11 to 50 people based in the US. And as you can see on the top right of my screen, I no longer have 2 million companies, but now I have 820k results. All right, so now that you know how this page works, it's time to select our filters. So if we think about how to identify rich companies, we have to take a step back and think which filters are the best to identify a rich company. So of course, the most obvious filter is on top here, annual revenue. And if we click on plus, we will see that we can filter the companies based on their annual revenue. So on the paper, it looks amazing, but actually it's a very bad filter because LinkedIn doesn't have a good data on this filter. So that's why even if it's very tempting to use this filter, I strongly recommend you to avoid this filter. So next filter is company headcount, and this one is very good because most of the time the bigger the company, the more money they have. If I click on plus, we know that, for example, if a company has 11 to 50 people, this company has probably less money than a company who has a company headcount between 1,000 to 5,000 people. So that's why this filter is very useful, especially if you want to target rich companies. So for example, let's say that we want companies with a minimum headcount of 200 people. So I click here on 200, 500, and the rest. So only with this filter, we know that we target companies that are doing at least millions in annual revenue. The next filter is company headcount growth, and this one is very interesting. So with this filter, you know if a company is currently growing. And I will show you an example. So if I click here on plus and I say that I want a company headcount between 10%, 10 and max, let's say that we don't care, so just add, and a company headcount, let's say between 200 to 1,000 people. And so on the right part of my screen, I can see that we have Skype. So Skype has almost 700 employees. And if I click on this page and I scroll a little bit, we will see that the employee count is growing. And here you have all the details. So during the last 6 months, the employee headcount has grown by 6%, 1 year 13%, and 2 years 22%. If you are curious about the details, you have the graph that gives you the number months after months. So we can see that in 2024, Skype has grown a lot. So let's go back to our filters, and yeah, company headcount growth, I strongly recommend you to use it, but please use this filter wisely. And why I'm saying that? Because the growth rate depends on the company headcount. It's way harder to get like a 50% growth if you target companies with at least 1,000 employees. So the bigger the company, the less you can put here as a growth. And of course, the smaller the companies in terms of headcounts, the bigger headcount growth you can put. Next filter is headquarters location, and same, this one is very good if you want to target rich companies. If you are an English-based business, the best way to target rich companies is simply to get companies that are based in the US. And why in the US? Because they have much more money than, for example, companies based in New Zealand. I personally have nothing wrong with New Zealand. I love this country, but I know that these companies in New Zealand have less money than companies based in the US. So to continue our example, we can say that we want the headquarters location based in the US. And here on the right part of my screen, I only have company based in the US. So of course you can select a country, so for example United States, but for example if you are like me and you are in France and you know that most of the big businesses are for example in Paris, I can specifically write Paris and I will only have companies who are based in Paris. And by targeting companies based in Paris, I know that they probably have more money than a company based somewhere in France. So it's same, of course, for example, in the US, you can target only company based in New York, or in Switzerland, you can only target companies who are based in Zurich. So with the headquarters location, you can go big and target the whole country, or you can select some specific cities, for example, New York, London, Berlin, Zurich, Paris, and so on. And you know that at this place, you will find companies that have much more money. So now let's go back to the next filter. So I remove this. And the next filter is very good because it's industry. If we want to target rich companies, we have to take care in which industries they are currently working. So you can easily understand that a company that are currently working in the banking space has way more money than a company working for museum, for example. So when you decide which industry you want to target, I really want you to ask yourself if this industry tends to be a long-term game or if you are not sure. For example, I know that the crypto industry has some ups and downs. And if you target companies in these industries, so the crypto industry, your results and your ability to sell your services or products to companies that are working in the crypto industry are related to the states of the crypto industry. So for example, you can target banking, investment banking as well, investment banking, insurance. Yeah, that's perfect. Financial services is good too. Software development as well, and so on. So if you reach out to companies that are in these industries, you know that they are currently in a good market, they have money, they have customers, and the trends of these industries are currently growing. So of course, if you target companies that are basically in the newspaper industry, you know that you will reach out to an industry that is currently suffering a lot and they won't have money to invest in what you want to sell. So the two next filters I want to show you are department headcount and department headcount growth. And why I'm showing you these two filters that are not directly related to target rich companies, it's because it might help you to identify if a company is a good fit for you. So for example, let's say that you are a company and you help sales teams to book more meetings with cold email or cold call or whatever. So because of what you do, you want to target companies that have at least 5 sales. So to do that, you click here on plus. Then you click here and you will find all the departments we have in a company. So we have consulting, education, finance, legal, marketing, and here we have sales, what we want. So we can say that we want to target sales department with a minimum headcount of 5 people. And here I click on add. So with this filter, you know that you target companies that have at least 5 people working in the sales department. And now the next interesting filter is department headcount growth. And here we will say that we want that during the last year, the department headcount sales has grown by at least, let's say, 20%. So it means that we will target companies that are investing in their sales department. So if you sell a service or product related to sales, you know that these companies are currently investing in their sales department. All right, so now the two last filters I want to show you are job opportunities and recent activities. And let's start with job opportunities. So here, if I click on plus, I will have companies that are currently hiring on LinkedIn. So if a company is currently hiring, you know that the company is growing, and it's a good information to have because you know that these companies are currently investing and growing. So you just have to click here on hiring on LinkedIn. The last filter I want to show you is recent activities. And this one, senior leadership changes in the last 3 months. We don't care, but this one might be useful. So funding events in past 12 months. And if I click here, we will have companies that have been funded during the past 12 months. The problem of this filter is that LinkedIn doesn't have a lot of data about the funding events in the world, and that's why it doesn't work that much. So I don't recommend you to use this, except if you specifically want to target companies with funding events in the past 12 months. So now that you know how to use the best filters on Sales Navigator to just narrow down your search to only get rich companies, it's time to take a real example and see how it works. All right, so let's start, and let's say that we want company headcount with at least 50 people. So yeah, let's say between 50 to 1,000 people. So as I told you, with this size of company, I know that these companies make at least a few millions a year, and some of them way more. Now, of course, because I want to target rich companies, I want companies with a good company headcount growth. So let's say 20%, which is a lot. Let's say what we have. Okay, we have still a lot of companies. Let's say that I want company based in the US, United States. Next, filter industry. Let's continue the cliche and say banking. Okay, so here we have just 66 results. So I will not use department headcount and department headcount growth, but I want, companies that are currently hiring on LinkedIn. And we have now 30 results. All right, so now that I'm happy with my search, all I have to do is to click here on select all. So it will save 25 results. Then I click here on save to list, and I will create a new list. So list name, banking, US 51 to 1K. And then I click on create and save. And here I have to go on the page number 2 to save the rest. All right, so now that I saved all the companies, what I can do is to save my search, because when a new company will match my filters, I will get notified. So for that, I just have to click here on save search to get notified of new results, and I activate this button. Now that we have our list of rich companies, it's time to identify the leads that are currently working for these companies. So we want, of course, decision makers, because these people can say yes to your services or products. So now we have to move from account to lead. And then the first thing I want to do is to go on account list. And then I just have to click on banking US 51 to 1K people. And on the right part of my screen, we have all the people that are currently working for these companies. So now that I'm happy with my search, I need a tool to export these leads into a clean leads file where I have all the data from these leads and of course their verified email. So for that, you can use our tool Give Me Leads. So you can click in the first link in the description, you do the quick onboarding, and it will allow you to get a list like this one. So this data is basically the people that come from our search. So I have 35 people exactly. And here, as you can see, we have the first name, last name, the profile picture, the company name, job title, headline, LinkedIn URL, and the verified email email if we found it. So when we export the leads from Sales Navigator into this file, we make sure that the data is clean. So we make sure that we don't have any skyrocket emoji. And of course, we make sure that the company name is well formatted. The second thing we do, and this is very important, is that we make sure that every single lead match your filters. And you can see that with this column. We give you the information if the leads match perfectly your filters or not. So for example, here we have some people with invalid job title. So if we take an example, so let's say Scott, for example. So we said that we want CEO or founder, but as you can see, Scott here, his title is sales and marketing, and same, his headline is sales and marketing manager. And if we go on his LinkedIn account, yeah, as we can see on his profile, he is not a CEO or founder. And if we go on his experience, sales and marketing manager, real estate specialist, mortgage, loan originator, but he is not a CEO or founder. If we take one last example, Zane, for example, her job title is full stack digital marketing specialist. Headline, same with, we don't find that she is a CEO or founder. And that's why here on the right part, we tell you that she doesn't match your filters. So at the end, with this file, you can import the valid leads in your CRM or in your favorite outreach tool. So if you want to easily export your leads from Sales Navigator into a clean leads file with the verified emails of the leads, you can click in the first link in the description. I hope with this tutorial that you will be able to target companies that have money to invest in your product or services. Now it's time for me to wish you a nice day, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye.